Whisper in the yard and turn the trees all into toys. Lay there on the ground and turn the dirt into your joy. Before you start to drift and your soul begins to scream, I just wanted to tell you that you're listening to a dream.
Pace's Playground. Pace's Playground Podcast. Pace's Playground Podcast.
Mark, you're gonna fight in front of 50,000 people in about a month or two. Are your knees shaken yet?
Well, you know what? I'm just filled with excitement. You know, it became real on Tuesday at the press conference, being there and being at the stadium and, you know, seeing how big this is going to be. And just, you know, even at the fan meet and greet, like, you can just feel the excitement and the anticipation from everybody. So it's just like I'm just excited as all the fans.
What do you think you're going to do against a guy, Aldo, that is very well-rounded also in striking and submissions? What type of strategy are you going to apply?
For sure, well, I don't know. These last few fights, Jose Aldo's came out to stand and strike. So, you know, it all depends on his game plan. But, you know, it's mixed martial arts, and you have to be ready everywhere. But, you know, with myself, I'm coming out there to stand on the feet and, you know, to stand and throw punches and kicks and knees. And that's the fight I'm, you know, looking for. So whoever I get that, like by anti-wrestling or, you know, getting back to my feet and scramble, that's you know, my kind of game plan is obviously to put the pressure in to use my striking skills.
Precisely. What do you intend to do inside the octagon? When you're a striker and you're trying to avoid getting on your back, what can you do? What kind of strategy? Do you use more kicks? What do you precisely do as a fighter not to get on the floor?
It really all depends on the opponent, you know, like how your opponent reacts, like what kind of game plan he comes with or what kind of pressure he puts. But footwork is definitely key. You know, like I think kicking's pretty tough early in a fight just because it's easy, you know, for a lot of wrestlers especially to catch the kick and go for the takedown off your strikes. But, you know, like I said, it all depends on the opponent, and you have to use everything in your arsenal. You know, you have to use your knees when they try to attack, and, you know, it all really depends on the opponent, though.
You've got a strong background of kickboxing and Muay Thai. Both your last fights were against guys that would run around, try fancy kicks, but you seem patient to wait for the perfect time to just take a shot, but a precise and counting one. You seem to overcome your opponents that way.
Yeah, like that. I think that's my, like, you know, I feel I'm really precise with my punches, and that's one thing. Even like when I'm teaching, I teach my students is just like, don't waste punches because, you know, it's a waste of energy. Just make sure that, you know, obviously, you know, you don't want to overweight and sit back too much, but you also want to, you know, go out there and find the shots that are going to do damage and without wasting your energy and picking the right shots, because those are the ones that's going to land. And I feel that my style, normally, like, I feel the later the fight goes, the more the fight's in my favor. I feel like I have strong conditioning, and, like, you know, the longer the fight goes, the stronger I get. But I came out last time, my last fight, and I finished it in 88 seconds. So I feel that I do also have the punching power that, you know, if the fight opportunity comes, I can finish a fight quick. And that's what I wanted to prove my last fight, that, you know, like, it's not just, you know, me just, you know, waiting and countering and whatnot. I can be aggressive, go forward and knock my opponent out, and that's what happened in my last fight, and I just wanted to illustrate that. That's
the fight against Roop at UFC Fight Night 23, right?
Yeah, the fight for the troops, that was just under 3 weeks ago.
You've been recognized with a strong body hook to deliver. Can you describe what kind of effect that strike does to your opponent?
Oh, it's a devastating punch. The left hook to deliver shot is a devastating punch, and it doesn't matter how tough you are, how much willingness you have to fight. You take a shot to the body like that, it completely paralyzes your body, and it shuts you down, and it, you know, kind of makes any man weak and takes their wind completely. I think it's the most devastating punch in boxing and in MMA. If you can, you know, land that shot, it can change the fight. It changes the person's conditioning. It changes his will to fight, and it brings his hands down. Everything. It's a great punch that, you know, it's taken years to kind of perfect it, and that's one punch that's definitely my favorite in the arsenal.
How do you manage the change of organizations, like say from TKO to WEC? How did you adapt to a certain style, to a certain level of competitors?
The one thing that I was lucky with or blessed with is coming up in the Montreal-based promotions, like first it was UCC and then to TKO, that the shows they put on were huge. Like they had a really nice production. They had big events. They had huge crowds. So that was one thing that helped all of us. Like, because Georges St. Pierre, David Oiseau, Patrick Cote, Jonathan Goulet, all those guys fought there before they went to the UFC, right? And I think those shows helped us prepare just because we were used to fighting, having to do the pre-fight interviews, having to do, the big production and fighting in front of a large crowd. And I think that was a big thing that got us ready to fighting. And also they brought in top guys. Like we're all the champions in that division, but they also brought in a lot of tough opponents that prepared for the next level.
So for you, the secret was only to be at the top of your game, to be at the top of the WEC. Then you would be confident about having a spot in the UFC. And I think, right, you were, because now you're a co-main eventer at UFC 129. Do you think being from Ontario is going to work for you or against you?
You know what? I believe it's going to be great. Like, I mean, I'm having the fan support, but the thing is with this fight, I'm going in there. I'm a big underdog. There's no question that. So it's always nice to go in that role because there's always added pressure on the champion or the guy who's supposed to win, or like whereas I feel that I'm the underdog in this fight. A lot of people are counting me out, so I'm going to go out there and prove them wrong.
You fight for your rent, for your groceries, for your kids. What's the pressure behind that kind of job? Because people sometimes, they will look at a WEC or a MMA event on pay-per-view. They would think that you only do that part-time.
It's a commitment. Like for me, this is my 16th year training, 10th year fighting as a pro. Like this is a lifelong commitment. And like you're saying, like it looks like you go out there for 15 minutes and lay it on the line. Where there's months leading up to that fight where you're training 2 times a day, giving up every sacrifice through the diet, through your friends, and time away from your family. And like for me, I traveled to Las Vegas to train, so I have to leave my family behind. And the years of that before that, building the record, competing all over the world, like sacrificing a lot, and to make it to that level is very tough. And even when you're there, it's even more cutthroat just because of the the pressure that's on there to be to fight the best guys in the world, and it's a constant evolving game. Like each fight you'll see all the top guys. You look at a guy like Georges St. Pierre. Every single fight he gets better, and the reason why he does it is because he works every single day at perfecting his art or working on his weaknesses or gaining more skills as a fighter, whether it's it's mentally or physically or whatever it is. He's always looking for the edge, and that's where the top guys are. And a lot of times it's tough for people to understand that, like that, this is such a tough job, and I love it and I wouldn't want to do anything else, but it's very difficult and it's just constant work.
For us fans, we look at you guys, let's say I've watched you fight maybe a month or 2 ago or 6 months ago, and then you're off the screens, and then I see you again 6 months later looking fit, looking ready to fight. Could you discuss the downtime or the time lapse between fights where you have to deal with injuries? Because again, people seem to think being an MMA fighter is easy. You train, you end your fight, you put on a Band-Aid or two, and then you're off to home.
No, I mean it's obviously like in between fight you have a little bit more downtime where you get, like I said, get some time to spend with your family or with myself. Like I'll go fishing for a weekend or something like that. But like I was lucky. My last fight I came out healthy. No injuries. So back Monday, as soon as Monday, like it was fought on Saturday, and back Monday I was already back in the gym. And you see like a lot of the fighters who are doing well, that's the kind of mentality they have, is like, just constantly you got to grow, you got to get better. But sometimes, like my fight before that, I had to wear a cast after the fight. So that's obviously a big hindrance for training, and it's just part of the game though.
How good of a showman do you have to be? How good at pre-fight interviews, at trying to build some hype to make it sell? How do you become competent at that part of the job?
Well, for myself, I always try and be myself and, show my personality. A lot of times, the shows and the promoters and the people who put together the promos, they can edit you the way they want you. Like if you want to, be the heel or, the bad guy or the good guy. Like, but someone like, the fight with George St. Pierre and Josh Koscheck, it was very easy to see who the good guy and the bad guy was. Some guys are better at that, but I like for myself, I just like to, show my own personality, and hopefully the fans like it. But that's a big thing. You definitely need a fan following, and you need people to want to watch you fight. Because if nobody cares whether you win or lose, that's a big thing for yourself as a career, and you definitely need to have that. But for a guy like myself, I just look to try and show my personality and who I'm about. I don't try to fake anything about myself.
If you win the featherweight title, would you be willing to go to Disney World?
I would love to go to Disney World.
Mark, this has been a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
Oh, no, I appreciate you talking to me.
Pace's Playground Podcast. Find it, hear it on SoundCloud and iTunes. Comment, react, or troll via Twitter at PlaygroundPod, Facebook.com/PlaygroundPodcast, email playgroundpodcast@hotmail.com.
PlaygroundPodcast.com.